All we see is the train wrecks. All we see is the people shooting up crystal meth on the street, and that's the entertainment of it. But what they don't see are those people that walk up the stairs wrecked. They walked up the stairs just a shell, and a short period later, they have their family back in their lives. There's so much hope for everyone. This is Recovery Now.
I remember I smoked a joint and I just started crying because I knew that it was on. I knew that I couldn't stop.
You know, I was drinking and probably using some cocaine and smoking marijuana. And
it didn't really stick. I went into a detox unit for 2 weeks and I dried out, and I got stoned in the parking lot as I left the detox unit. And then I discovered drinking, and that was really what took me to my knees.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Mike Cohan, and welcome to Recovery Now. This is very exciting. I can feel the energy in this room. It's very amazing. It's because most of the people in this room are in recovery themselves. The purpose of Recovery Now is to be able to show people hope. The person that walks in petrified, the person who's detoxing and gets through a couple days of detox and you see a brighter face, the person whose family comes to visit and gets to hug them for the first time when they're sober. These are all the miracles that we have on a daily basis. We have people from many different treatment centers here. We have people who have flown cross country to share their story. There's different lengths of sobriety. It's going to be fun. So thank you all so much for coming and waiting and being so patient out there. Can I ask how old you are?
24.
And you celebrated?
I have 14 months on the 18th.
14 months of sobriety. That's pretty amazing. I know you told me that at 14 years old you started. Give me an idea on what that was like.
Well, for me, you know, drinking alcohol and using drugs was a way to escape the way I felt. You know, I had some tragedies happen to me in my childhood that I couldn't listen to my head anymore, you know, and I just needed a way to escape. And I found alcohol and drugs, and it gave me a way out, you know, and I just continued to do it and it got worse, and I just continued to do it for years and years, and I lost a lot of things, you know, lost a lot of respect for myself and dignity for myself, and
Alcohol and what drugs?
I started with alcohol and marijuana.
Ah, the gateway drug that they all warned us about. What did it lead you to?
Cocaine, pain pills, heroin, meth.
So this is at like 15 and 16 years old. It's a lot for a 16-year-old to deal with. There was something else involved there too. It moved on to an eating disorder. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was bulimic for, you know, it probably started when I was about 18 or 19.
Okay.
So, and you know, and through my heroin use, it, you know, it kind of like counteracted each other, you know, and it got pretty bad, you know, and that's why I actually went to treatment for the first time, was for chemical dependency and eating disorder.
And how old were you?
I was 22, just turned 22.
And what program was that?
It was in Mississippi. It was the Women's Center. I was terrified because I was scared that, you know, I was scared when I walked through those doors, I knew I couldn't drink or use any drugs, you know, and I had to be with myself, and it terrified me.
How long had you been there for?
I was there 3 months.
And you stayed sober for 3 months?
Yeah.
And then you left that program, and then what happened? You went back home?
Yeah, I went home to Kentucky, and probably 2 weeks after I got out, I relapsed.
Okay. What was that like?
I remember I smoked a joint, and I just started crying because I knew that it was on. I knew that I couldn't stop. Because once I do, I can't stop. I don't know how to.
So from there, you knew right away when you smoked that joint that it was on, because you really did have a problem. You had 3 months of probably intense lockdown treatment to let you know that you had a problem, and you get out and you use, and it was like, yep, I definitely have a problem. So what happened then?
After I relapsed, I think it was about a month. Because see, when I went to treatment the first time, my primary thing was drugs, you know, and the eating disorder. And so when I got out of treatment, I was like, okay, I can drink and I'll be okay. You know, I can just have a few drinks. And, you know, that turned into blackout drunk, you know, and every time I drank, I blacked out and I couldn't stop. So I got a DUI, probably like 2 months after I got out of treatment.
Okay.
And I started doing meth. I'm an IV drug user, so I was doing meth. And before I knew it, you know, I got beat up by my ex-boyfriend because I get in abusive relationships when I'm using. And I got arrested for a felony. I went to jail.
So the alcohol experiment worked out well then. Good deal. What got you to the next step?
They gave me an ultimatum that I could go get treatment or go to prison. And you know, but I never thought that I could like stay sober. You know, I came to Dr. Paul's at the Bay, and I just threw myself into the program.
And how was that different from the other program that you went to?
It's not a lockdown facility. I could leave and go to meetings and meet a sponsor, you know, and I had to come back for a curfew, you know, and it was kind of like a transition. You know, I could kind of function in society, or learn how to function in society, because I didn't know how to.
That's important, I think, for everyone to understand as well, and for the public to understand, is that there is a treatment program for anyone, any type of person. You don't have to have millions of dollars, you don't have to have insurance, there are free programs, but there's programs for everyone. So this worked for you because it was a little bit open, it was like night and day. Mm-hmm. You went from a lockdown to having the more real life experience, and that's probably what you needed. Was there anything about the program that really helped you grab on tightly?
Actually, I met this lady, and she was my counselor named Lynn, and she really,
she's out here somewhere.
Yeah, she's over there.
You want to come up here, Lynn? Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Thanks for coming from Florida. Both of you. You came together, correct?
Yes.
Could you explain that? How Lynn was instrumental in your recovery?
She was honest with me. You know, she didn't try to you know, like just to be nice and to pat me on my back or anything like that. She told me things that I needed to work on in myself, you know, and things that I can work on in life. She just made me feel comfortable. It was really a big thing, too. Although not the first time, because I was scared to death when I first met with her, but...
What's the 5 questions that she was asking you?
She asked me, I think it was like 5 questions about like what age I started doing what drugs, and within about 5 minutes, she basically read me.
I think what's dynamic about Sarah was that, you know, like she said, this was her decision, her choice to come to treatment this time around, and I have kind of the confrontational style of counseling, and she sought me out. It's amazing if you had an opportunity to see the picture of Sarah.
Yes. We have that. Can I have that picture? Kind of like a mixture of Mommy Dearest with those eyebrows. It's hard. This was a mugshot, wasn't it? You had black eyes from a boyfriend.
2 black eyes.
Broke nose, busted lip.
The point that we're trying to make is that there are relationships like this in every treatment center. There are people that are part of the treatment programs that share their experience, strength, and hope. They combine it with their education and their clinical knowledge.
Absolutely.
But it was a chance for you to let your guard down, trust someone, and then get on with things. And this is where the most important part comes, because I don't want to focus too much upon how we were train wrecks before we came in. What I want to focus on is what's going on now. That's what excites me. I want to hear about Sarah Michelle now.
For me, you know, the biggest thing is that I can be in a room by myself, and I'm okay with myself. You know, that's the one thing, is that all the things on the outside I have don't mean anything. You know, it's how I feel on the inside. You know, and I can walk around with my head up. You know, I don't have to look behind my shoulder to see who's behind me, because I'm, you know, terrified of who could be behind me. Being sober one day at a time, you know, I have a relationship with my family today that's better than it was ever before I started using and drinking. I went home for Christmas, and I took pictures of me with my family, and I looked like I was a part of my family, because even before I started drinking, I always looked like, well, there's Sarah, you know, she doesn't really blend in with the family, you know, and I brought it back and I took it right to Lynn as soon as I got home, and I was like, Lynn, look, like I look like I fit. I look like I belong, you know, and those are the things that I never had before. You know, my life today is, if I would have wrote down something when I first came to treatment about what my life could be, it would be totally different than what it is today. Today I've worked from the inside out, and it wasn't, I mean, there were some hills I had to climb over, you know, but you know, I don't ever want to look back. You know, I'd rather walk through the things instead of having to go back to what it was like.
The miracle of recovery. Thank you, Sarah Michelle. We're so grateful that you're here and you came from Florida. And thank you, Lynn, for coming. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
Let's have our next guest. We have Zach. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
So, you have a lengthy sobriety right now. How long have you been sober for?
3.5 years.
Okay, and how old are you?
30.
Is this your first time getting sober?
No, unfortunately it's not. This is my second time. I got sober the first time when I was 21 and it just didn't stick. So this time I got sober when I was 27 and I was, I think, a little bit more willing this time.
Tell me what it was like, when you were in your 20s and you were using.
When I was young, I was like the perfect kid. I never drank, I never used, I never did anything. When I got into college, that kind of changed, and I was in a fraternity, and I was president of the fraternity, and I had a very bad coming out experience. It wasn't something that was necessarily planned. And when that happened, I just threw myself into drugs head first. I had an overdose on PCP, and that led me into recovery the first time. It didn't really stick. I went into a detox unit for 2 weeks, and I dried out, and I got stoned in the parking lot as I left the detox unit. And then I discovered drinking, and that was really what took me to my knees. I drank heavily for about 5 years until I got sober, and that was really what brought me to the bottom. And it got to the point where I couldn't develop any business. I couldn't talk to people. I was afraid of people. And there were antidepressants that I was taking. There was anti-anxiety medication. There was an insane amount of vodka. And just to face people, I had to have all of those things. And even then, it was definitely not a graceful experience. It was just awful.
And how old were you at that point?
I was 27.
You must look like you were 10 because right now you look like you're 20.
I wish I had a picture. No, actually, I had the whole Elvis face thing going on. I was really kind of swollen. I had had pneumonia for several months. Just because I kept going to the doctor, but I didn't tell him that I was drinking. And so when they give you medication, you don't get well. It was not pretty when I came in.
But other than that, everything was great.
Everything was perfect. Perfect.
You came in, you went to treatment center.
I did, yeah. I had my family, I was living in Texas at the time. They lived in Idaho, and they did kind of an unofficial intervention. And my father just flew down. They were worried. He flew down. He raided my house, which was interesting. He found all sorts of interesting things. He stayed with me for a week until I could get into treatment. And then he flew with me to treatment, and he got a hotel room, and he stayed there the first week because he was afraid that I was going to leave. He was right there. Since then, they've been a real deep part of my life.
So when you went into treatment?
When I came into treatment, I wasn't willing. I came because my family wanted me to go, and because I had a lot of credit card debt, and because I thought I could just turn off everything for 30 days. And that was the honest reason why I went to treatment. I didn't plan on getting well. I didn't plan on anything happening. There was no plan. There was just, I can get away from all my problems for 30 days.
Was there a shift when you got in where you were there for yourself and not for your family?
The first 2 weeks, I was there. I didn't relate. I looked at all the differences, and I didn't see any of the similarities. And we sat there for a week, and we went to group sessions, and I heard my story coming back to me, from men that were twice my age, from women, that were, from the Midwest. I mean, I kept hearing my story come back, and I was a little bit reluctant. And I had a great counselor who had a long talk with me about, that it doesn't hurt to at least try. That what I was doing was not working. It made me an absolutely miserable person, and so I might as well just try. And I don't know why, but something about it clicked. In the program, we say that we seek people that we want what they have, and I wanted what this person had, and it just amazed me. And that's when it clicked. And I didn't do anything miraculous. I just took it one day at a time. I got a sponsor, and I didn't know really what was going to happen. And really, that's kind of how my sobriety has been. It's kind of, there's not this great big master plan. I wing it on a daily basis.
Thank you for your sobriety. I mean, to go in there kicking and screaming and having Dad wait outside the treatment center for a week just to make sure that you stay there and that you're going to be okay, and then just taking that direction and turning it around, doing what was asked, and now you're able to give that back. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
You know, there's nothing in this world, there's nothing bad enough that could happen, I don't believe, that will make me want to go back to the place where I don't want to live.
How are you? Good. Lauren and I have had the chance to get to know each other over the last probably 8 or 9 months now. And Lauren is really an inspiration behind this project. I'll briefly say that she was on the intervention show. She works at Oasis. She's going to be doing interventions for Spencer and for herself as well. She does this to be able to show people the amazing transition, and that's what we're trying to do here. When you see a picture of Lauren when she was using, and you see what you see right now, you want to know how she got from point A to point B, and you want to listen because she was so in the depths of her disease. So, no pressure.
Okay.
Can you give us a brief overview of what it was like, of what happened?
You know, I was drinking and using some cocaine and smoking marijuana. And when I had finished college, I began to use heroin, maybe weekly, after graduating and having an apartment and a car and everything else. I began to use it weekly and then a couple times a week. And mind you, at this point, I'm an educated person and knew where this drug would take me. But for some reason, I had an ego that told me I could do it different or better than everybody else. And I continued to use. And then came a point where I tried not to use, and I could not stop. I heard a few people say something similar to what I'm about to say, is I would be on my way to go get the drugs, whatever they may have been at the time, crying because I couldn't not go. I had to go. I couldn't stop myself from going. At one point, what was fun and what was everybody thought was, you know, what I thought was freedom, and I was able to do whatever I wanted. It became a prison to me, and it took away everything I had. But I don't even really want to say it took it away. I gave it away. I gave everything I had away to the drug. I lost my job. I wrecked my car. I lost my apartment. I had to move in with my mom. I became homeless at one point.
I know that you were a teacher.
High school.
High school. You were shooting up like in the bathroom, or was it at work, or could you control it so it was during the day?
I don't even know that I was controlling it. It was controlling me. Maybe at first I controlled it, but I would have to get a fix before I went to work to teach kids in school. And I would have to get a fix during lunch at work so I can continue or finish the day. And it wasn't even to get high or party or enjoy myself anymore. It was so I can function. Because it changed over from a point of being fun and being blissful and being euphoric to a point of complete utter sickness that I could not even get up and take a shower without it. I had to have it.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
It always does, though.
Right?
Chasing that high for 6 years, you know? That
Exactly.
first time's always so glorious, and then it just gets
You spend the rest of the
messy from
time
there.
chasing it.
Yeah. Lauren has always been very descriptive in how you're feeling. The intervention show went to her house, did an intervention, and I keep watching this section of it where you say you had just used drugs, you just had shot up heroin, and you sat there with this horrified look on your face, and you said you just feel like you're in your grave already and you're waiting for someone to throw the dirt in. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing today?
Well, today I am a personal trainer, and I work with addicts and alcoholics in recovery mostly. And I try to find ways to offer them fitness and health and nutrition for free. I've also completed the coursework to be an interventionist, and I'm working on a master's degree.
And the program that you went to, Oasis Treatment Center,
Yes.
How was that for you?
I just felt like such a loser, and that I was never going to get it. And the person who's my sponsor now, Mercy, she came up, put her hand on my forearm and said, you know what, it's going to be okay. And we're going to take care of you. And for some reason, that comforted me. I needed somebody to tell me that it was going to be okay, because I didn't know. I didn't think it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to make it this time either. I thought it'll be another try and another fail. And that wasn't the case.
That's wonderful. That's a really important thing for people to understand, especially if they're concerned about going into a facility because they have these preconceived ideas of what it's actually going to be like. You know, I think that the media has made it look hokey. You know, everyone's sitting around holding hands, and no one's going to actually reach out and say it's going to be okay. Or there's people at treatment facilities that have been through this themselves, so they're able to share, you know, based on their own experience. It's amazing when you look back and you realize it happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. So now you're moving into possibly becoming an interventionist.
Yes.
You and I had spoken about possibly doing interventions for Spencer Recovery, and you possibly wanting to open it up to other people that are in need of interventions that maybe aren't able to put them together, or the families aren't available, or there's financial issues or something like that.
Right.
Are you currently helping people right now?
Yes, I actually have someone here with me today.
What's the story there?
He's from the East Coast, from Pennsylvania, and he's, I'm going to say he's family because he's related to family. And we've known each other a long time, and we have the same disease, and we have the same drug of choice. And, you know, I know what he's going through, and I know how hard it is. And I know how hard it is because, you know, you destroy everything in your life. So now you don't have any money. Now you don't have any insurance. How are you going to get treatment? How are you going to get help? You know, and I know there are free programs out there, but people that are in their sickness and disease don't know how to look for them. They don't know what to do or who to ask.
So did he reach out to you?
Yes, him and his family reached out to me, asked what I knew, what I could do, how I could help, and I want to say.
So he came out?
He's here.
Okay, so what is his name?
Todd.
Todd, would you like to come up here for a minute? Would you mind?
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
So you know Lauren?
Yes.
You called her for help?
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, basically, I've pretty much lived a destructive lifestyle for the past 20 years of my life. And it's only getting worse. And I have a little boy that, you know, needs me. And, you know, I lost my father to addiction. And I'm trying to not let history repeat itself, pretty much. I had several attempts at treatment, failed attempts on the East Coast, so, you know, I knew I couldn't do it over there. It's just not gonna happen. I'd go away for like 30 days, 60 days. You know, I did a couple years in jail, you know, but as soon as I got out, I went right back to it. You know, I also sold drugs too, so it was like a means for me to get money, you know, and, you know, monkeys can't hold bananas, so inevitably I would go right back to it. And I finally came to the realization that in order for me to, you know, get sober, I have to take myself out of my element, you know, so.
That's very smart.
I figure I live in New York, PA. Why not go to California?
How old is your son?
He's 8.
He's 8, and you have a wife?
Common law, we're not married, but we've been together for, you know, 13 years. She's not gonna marry me right now, you know? What, you know, smart woman would, you know what I mean? But she's waiting there for me. There's hope. Trying to remain as positive. I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like sitting in front of a studio audience right now, not the way I feel physically, but this is what I have to do.
I think everyone in that room is sitting up here with you right now. They're all feeling it because they've been there. We have some people that are in primary care at treatment centers. We have some people that are interventionists that are recovering alcoholics or addicts. We have owners of treatment centers, and everyone right now is up here with you, and no one in any way is looking down on you because we've all been there. And what we see in those eyes right now is someone that's willing to get sober and someone who's going to do whatever they can because they flew cross country, not knowing what it was, but just going on the trust of this wonderful person. I think that in the spirit of this show and giving hope to other people, what I would like to offer from Spencer Recovery Center, they're sponsoring this show today. What we have here is a package for you. And the package is long-term treatment, where you can go in tonight and you can start your detox right away, so you can start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and see a physician and get some follow-up medical care and group therapy, individual counseling, family therapy. We can do it over the phone if they can't come to visit. It's, you know, intensive therapy throughout the day, the first month, and then we'll move into an extended care situation where you have a little bit more community integration. You learn how to be an outstanding member of society. You do some volunteer work, get some job skills, work on your self-esteem, give back right away the second month. All it takes is willingness from you, willingness to take the direction, and we're here for you. And it's a long-term program, and it's a private facility, but we're willing to do this because we see that there is hope. We want to reach our hands out to you, as people did with us. And all you got to do is just, you know, say you want the help and you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Thank you.
What do you think? Do you want to get sober?
Absolutely.
Do you really
Absolutely.
willing
With
to
all
take,
my heart, absolutely.
to put all your always aside?
It's a long time coming, Mike. It really is. You know. But I got it. It has to happen now. You know.
We're behind you every step of the way, and this is kind of what recovery is all about. So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the chance and flying cross country. It shows that you're willing to do whatever it takes to have what we have.
Thank you.
All right. People are miracles on so many levels, I think. Whether it be that you have a couple days of sobriety, whether it be that you get through detoxification, whether it be that you get sober and get a checkbook back, or you get to pay your taxes, or you don't have to look in the rearview mirror thinking you're going to get pulled over, or you don't come out and you have that boot on your car, that embarrassing boot because of all those parking tickets. I hope that with this project, we can show people out there that are struggling that it really can be a wonderful experience, and they too can be miracles on any level. So thank you all so much for coming, and I hope to see you soon.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.